Good afternoon, everyone. Let's get started here. As I've shared with numerous of you, this is my first time going at this, and let's get going. Okay, so you were wondering, who am I? Some of you have talked with me before and have met me. I am Fleetus Poston. I have been in this industry since the middle of 2000. I started as an IDS handler before moving into IT. After that time frame, I decided that I wanted to get into cyber and put cyber back into my title again. So I went and got my master's in information assurance and then formally joined the cyber department at a large utility as their security engineer. I grew up doing engineering work, so Blue Team is one of my deep passions. So happy to share that with you guys, as well as I have a strong interest in the human centric side of the business because people are important. So today I'm just going to walk you through a little bit about myself. I'm going to share a little bit more about how I love to give back to this community, and then I'll take some questions from the community. So looking forward to learning with you, and let's get started. So for those who know me, I operate heavily on dad jokes. So we're going to start with the first dad joke of the session here. So what do you do if you get locked out of your house? You talk to the lock because communication is key. The purpose of this session today is to talk about how we need to communicate. Every single one of us have to communicate with someone at some point in our career. It may be picking up the phone for the older generations. It may send an email for current, or it may be texting or slacking or using Teams. What that means is you need to learn your audience. You need to know who you're communicating with and why you're communicating with them. Communication needs to be asynchronous, and sometimes it needs to be synchronous as well. So we have to be comfortable knowing if it's okay to send a Slack in Teams if it's not urgent. If an email. Let's step back for a moment. Let's play out this. You join an organization. The first thing you do is email your team members. You will see them in the hallway later that day, and you're like, what's up? You didn't respond to my email. And they're like, what email? They may not be an email first organization. They may want you to send them a Teams or a Slack message or to walk to their desk because they may only check their email when they start work, before they go to lunch, after they go to lunch, or when they come back from their last meeting of the day before they go home. So email may not be the best communication style. Additionally, you need to understand how to properly document your communications. There's going to be times, depending on the industry that you work in, where you're going to need to have evidence. You're going to need to see chain of custody. You need to be comfortable walking through how do you document issues? How do you handle escalations? I talked with several of you guys earlier this morning in a different session. There may be shift changes that you need to be able to communicate effectively between the crew that's replacing you and the crew that's currently sitting beside you if you're in the middle of an incident, or if you're just trying to transition a break fix ticket for those who are still in IT. So with that, I'll move you into my next piece, as I already alluded to, is cybersecurity is personal. You have to make a personal responsibility. You get to choose each and every day how secure you're going to be. You get to choose what you're going to do. We all learn differently. Some of us need to learn by doing. Some of us need to learn by a formal education. We go get our degrees. We get certifications. Others just need to be told by a close friend, a mentor, etc., of how they want to be communicated to. It starts with us as personal. So back to what I alluded to earlier, human-centric security is imperative. We have to know that because we are the humans, are the primary attack vector, we're going to see things. And that includes even the security folks. You're still an employee of an organization. You're still checking email. You're still surfing the web. You're still interacting with opportunities to be social engineered or phished. So it's not if, but when you're going to have an incident in your environment. So you need to teach and enable your peers, your colleagues to report something as soon as they see it without the ramification of being told, you did this. You thank them for reporting it. We all have tools in our environment. If you don't, many organizations have tools that are going to alert you at some point in time. But the user knows first. They know they clicked on the email. They know they surfed to a website they shouldn't have went to. They know that they drive by, which leads us into the incidental or accidental insider. Everyone in your company can inadvertently compromise your organization or their computer or themselves. So we need to be comfortable saying, we want to hear from you. Your employees can be your first line of defense. They can be an extension of your blue team. And ultimately, they can be the ones who are the first to see something, so they should say something. Reward those employees. Get your leadership involved. Get your executives involved and call them out. Let them know that, hey, have your CISO or your CSO or even your CIO do shout outs in their fireside chats, in their newsletters. Have them set up a breakfast or a lunch and pick 5 or 6 individuals for that quarter to spotlight. That could be the help desk analyst who called a social engineering attempt. That could be your finance team who saw the ACH change and didn't process it because they had process and procedure in place to check and to verify and have multiple approvals. Because not everything that comes from your C-level is your C-level. We've all seen the text. Hey, go buy me some Apple gift cards. Go buy me Amazon gift cards and send them to me because I'm in a meeting. So to stop that, you have a process in place. This brings our GRC back into place, your people, process, and technology. We have to be comfortable escalating when we need to escalate and being comfortable having multiple approvals to make sure that you don't get stuck doing things. So with that, I want to lead into the next thing that a lot of us have to deal with. If you work in a publicly traded company, and you've probably heard of SEC changes. Numerous here, depending on where you've been at, if you've got a business background or even if you're aware, may know that any organization has to report any major impacts via their 8K. So some of you are asking, what is an 8K? Why do I care about the 8Ks? So let's take a moment and look. Your 8K is stated that lets you know that anytime a major event happens in your organization. And with this, you have the ability to report. There's a good website that I've shared with numerous, and I would love to share with you now. If you ever get a notification from a news article or your executives are asking, you can come out here and see which companies have reported a cyber incident and have declared their 8K. You can take a few minutes and literally see what an 8K looks like. You can pick on one of these organizations. You can say, let's see what's going on and understanding the ramifications. We don't want to disclose things until we've declared that they're an incident, that there is a major impact, but it's nice to see that organizations are willing and able and comfortable. This leads to a lot of conversations that we've talked about in many of our circles. Many organizations have now appointed a CISO because they have to have someone who's responsible for security within the organizations. So that's opened up new roles for people who are looking to get into managerial roles, to get into aspects that require them to be comfortable being the face. After a while, the CISO role can get lonely because if you're in a small organization, you may not realize your support system. So encourage your leadership. Encourage your defenders. We're coming into a holiday season. Many of us will be working over the holidays. So when you're sitting down to have your Thanksgiving dinner, take a moment and thank the SOC analyst who's working right now. Thank your help desk who's working through the holiday in case something goes off. Remember all the people who were carrying on-call schedules throughout the holidays. It's important that we stop, think, and we assess those. And with that, I think to transition a little bit more away from some of the GRC topics and back into the leadership pieces, We have to be comfortable going back to mentorship. I shared with some of you guys earlier today, and I've talked with many of you throughout my career. You've got to have someone in front of you who's already walked it. You should have someone beside you who's walking it with you today. And you got to be willing to pour into the generation behind you. So, Fleet, you ask, how can you do that? There are many communities out there. There are Discord you can get active in. There are Slack channels. There's Signal channels. There's LinkedIn groups. Plug yourself in. If you're trying to break into this field, take some time to get to know someone. Introduce yourself to someone who's already in the position that you want to be in. Take some time to mentor those who are looking to transition from college into the workforce, to transition from, let's say, an IT role into security, or even better, who are non-traditional transfers. This could be your English teacher who's looking to get into cyber because they have the skill sets. They may make a great GRC analyst for you. They can come in and help with policies and procedures. They can help with your security awareness program because they understand communications. Have a journalist or a PR person join your GRC team. Even better, find a mechanic. Very detailed. Maybe they have the ability to be a content engineer for you because they have attention to detail. Maybe they can be your next SOAR, security orchestration, automation, and response engineer. Law enforcements tend to, when they retire, to enter either the physical or cybersecurity realm for that very reason. They understand the threat landscape. They understand the attack surfaces that they've dealt with while on patrol, while being a detective, etc. They are great hires for your organization. Veterans included, for those who've served our country. I'm thankful for the men and women who've served our country for that very reason. When they exit or retire from the military, it's hard for them sometimes to get in. So let's lean on their expertise that they've learned while in the military. Let's lean on the law enforcement. Let's lean on your school teachers or others who are looking to transition to this field. Find ways to engage the next generation. Go into your local high schools. Go into the local college that's in your community and say, I'd love to give back. Can I come guest speak? Can I attend one of your student leaderships? There are many ways you can do this. I may or may not have people here right now who would attest. I serve my undergrad actively. I'm actively mentoring several juniors and seniors who are looking to get into this field once they graduate. I meet with them regularly via Zoom calls to do what we're doing right now, just to share what's on my mind, to share how they can engage, to share that they have an advocate. It's imperative that you have someone to walk with you. I had a mentor call earlier today, and I reminded them, I want you to walk in my footsteps, but I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. I want to help you not get stuck in the same rut that I got in, but at the same time, enable them to understand that you can and you will get out of that ditch. It may be painful, it may not be comfortable, and it may be hard, but that's where you have a community around you. Find men and women who can serve you and say, I don't know, but I have a friend who does. And then lean on them. Network. Get to know these folks. It's imperative that you get to know the folks around you because you're going to either work with them or for them one day. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but our field is still tiny. It's still growing. Information security has only been around for decades. So there's a lot to still learn. There's a lot to still go and a lot to still be enabled. So you're either going to work with someone or for someone, again, at some point in your career. So just be comfortable knowing that you should never burn that bridge. No matter if you have a better opportunity, make sure you maintain that relationships and you do it gracefully when you move on. I'm going to look through chat right now to see what I'm missing. I see some folks coming in. I recognize many names here. Thank you for taking some time. Some other things that I would love to just share with you guys is I mentioned a couple times already, if you're looking to do something this holiday season, there are many CTFs out there. There are many opportunities. So what I would like to now do is share a couple of those things with you. If you haven't yet, take a moment and go out to Try Hack Me. Try Hack Me is going to serve, oops, my icon's in the way, the advent to security. They're kicking it off on December 1st. There are rooms out there in which you can go do right now. It's free to join. Take some time to join it. Again, you're looking to transition, not to be unbiased, but SANS has many opportunities to see what different fields look like. If you want to go through blue team, red team, IR, there's management classes. There's also cloud over here on the left, or the right, and industrial controls. We need all those fields. Maybe SANS is outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you have to self-fund. Look at CompTIA. Many people ask, where should I start? What should I get first if I'm getting a certification? Maybe start with your Net Plus or Cloud Plus before you do your Sec Plus. Maybe consider not getting any certifications. Maybe just have someone mentor you, help you break through and walk through it. We've all seen this busy roadmap. There are hundreds of certifications out there. There are different lanes depending on if you want to be in network, architecture, asset, risk management, assessments, software, etc. Be careful taking time to look at those. Understand what's out there. Again, ISC Squared is still offering tons of opportunities to get free entry-level certifications with the ISC Squared CC, Certified Cyber, or Certificate of Cyber, Certified in Cybersecurity. My apologies. Take time. Figure out what you can do. Figure out ways in which you can plug into any of these resources and learn from them, grow with them, and be willing. So I see a question here, what opportunities for part-time work for IT cyber persons with 30 years of experience? So that's a great opportunity. This comes from Tony in chat. Tony, find a local community to get involved in. If you're willing to do it unpaid, volunteer and do some pro bono and some non-paid work. Eventually, if you come out of this, you can get into some consulting. You have the opportunity to serve the community with the knowledge that you have. You can get involved with nonprofits that you've already had a servitude or a passion for before and while you were working. You can look for startups to get part of and offer your services to those startup organizations. You can also look at giving back to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Student organizations where you can help train them. I understand you're looking for work, probably paid work, but sometimes it starts with just giving back. Because it's sometimes, and I tell people, it's not who you know, it's when you know them. So if you're active in the community and you're actively giving back, your name's going to come up in conversations. People are going to say, I have a friend. And at this time, I'd like to recommend Tony for this position. Tony could be a great resource to your team. He has 30 years of experience. You should give him a chance. Take an interview with him. For those who are looking to transition, use your network. Most organizations that I've worked for and work with, an internal referral at least gets you a phone screen. Gives you the opportunity to at least get in front of a hiring manager or HR professional to get screened. It's easy to get defeated by the human firewall, known as the blockers for most of us who've ever put a resume in. The automated systems tend to kick out the majority of the resumes. So it's on us as hiring managers, as professionals, to help our friends out. Make connections. Be able to speak to these people both about their professional skill sets as well as their character. We talked this morning in the Simply Cyber panel about this. And Kate, culture is important. You have to fit the culture. If you culturally don't mesh with my team or with your leadership, no matter if you're the most technical or you're the unicorn, you're not going to succeed in the organization. So get to know what their culture is like. Find out what their mission value statements are. Find out what they care about. And if they align with your mission values, it's probably a place that you would like to try to work for. Again, With that, do you know your mission statement? Have you taken the time to write your own mission statement? Do you know what's important to you? So when you are interviewing for your next role, you know if it aligns. Not just referring to what you believe, your belief system, what your passions are, but what actually allows you to get up every day and say, I'm ready to go to work or I'm ready to do X. That's where your mission statement comes from. So I challenge all of you to take a moment and write your own mission statement. Share it with someone and help them make accountable. Help them write their own statement. Again, this is that mentorship back into play. Everyone should be a mentor and everyone should be a mentee. No matter if you've been in this field one day or 30 years, your life experiences, your upbringing, your formal and informal education adds value to every room that you're in. I'll say that again. You have the ability to mentor someone no matter if you've been in this field for a day or 30 years because of your experiences. I like reverse mentoring. I like to be mentored by my mentee. I like learning from their experiences, their challenges. I like understanding how I can enable them to be successful while they're helping me grow. There's lingo and new terminologies I don't understand, but they do. There's terminologies that I use day in and day out that they do not. We have to get past the unconscious biases we have on assuming a generation is lazy, incompetent, because of a bad experience that we've had with someone. We have to remember and be able to remind ourselves what it's like to be a novice again before we knew what we knew today. That's that crystal ball syndrome. We always would ask ourselves, what would you do with the knowledge you have now if you were 18 again? Don't think many of us want to be 18 again. But sometimes it's imperative that we think like we're the entry-level person again. Don't make assumptions. Be willing to slow down, pause, help others understand exactly why you're asking the question and why it's important. Take time to learn. Bet on yourself, bet on others, and continue to grow. There are many people like myself who would love to help you and give back. And it takes effort to clear your schedule, to say, I will make time. But it's imperative to make time for your colleagues and for your family. So let's transition to that for a moment. Not everything in cybersecurity has to be hair on fire. We can be proactive. We have the capabilities of understanding what it's like to set a work-life balance. Yes, our field is dynamic. Depending on the job you have, there may be after-hours work. You may have to say, honey, I'm sorry, we can't go to the concert tonight. I have to work. But find a way to make it back up to her or him. Yes, there's going to be times when you miss a kid's sporting event or dance recital. Again, make it up to them. Apologize. Apologies go a long way with your loved ones. Have empathy. Accept the apologies. Know that this field is tough. Know that you have the opportunities to learn. So I'll pause for a moment and see if there's any questions in chat while I take a sip of my drink. Okay. Seeing none, I'll move in to another topic that's very passionate of mine as well, is how do I know when it's time to move on? How do I know if I'm in the right role? So my litmus test is it's Sunday night, and are you looking forward to Monday? Not just are you tired, have you had a long weekend, but are you still feeling like you're adding value to the role that you're in? And if not, talk to someone. Talk to your boss, talk to a colleague, talk to a peer, and continue to move the needle. Yes, not every Monday is a fun day. Fun day Mondays don't always happen. But if you keep having that same Sunday night after Sunday night after Sunday night, it could either be burnout. It could be that you just need to reflect again on the mission statement I shared earlier, what's important to you, and does the organization or job still support that, or through M&As, through leadership changes? Has things happened? Has things changed? Additionally, find ways to broaden your knowledge outside of cyber. We always ask people, how do you stay abreast in cyber? Another interview question I like to ask when I'm interviewing is, what do you do outside this field that brings you happiness? What is a passion that's not cybersecurity? That's not information security? That's not IT? Because we all need to have different ways to decompress. Some of that is coding. Some of that is trying to hack into a box or pop a web application or finding the needle in the needle stack. Yes, I said needle in the needle stack because that's what it's like to go through logs in today's society, because we have so much data being piped into our data lakes, our SIMs, and we can get alert fatigue from that. So we have to be comfortable knowing that there's opportunities to change. Additionally, I've asked my team this week, what are things I can do better? What are things I should stop doing? And what are things you wish I would do? Those three questions lead into a lot of my one-on-ones, my skip levels. I need to know how I can be a better leader for you, a better colleague, a better peer, and ultimately a better employee of my organization. So if there's things I need to stop doing, tell me. If there's things I need to start doing, tell me. If there's things you wish I could do, let me know. Just because you vocalize those doesn't mean they'll be instant. It's a process. Remember, moving into this field is a process. Staying in this field is a process. It's waking up every day hungry. Waking up, what can I accomplish today? And go learning what's happened overnight. One way I've done that is I set up a feed in our Slack channel that has articles that come in 24/7. I take the first 15, 20 minutes each morning and just look through them. I listen to several podcasts. I join several streaming sessions. I ask my team, what did they learn? Because they're going to be in different circles than I'm in. There's so much knowledge out there that we have to find ways to break it down. These are opportunities we have. We join sessions like this. We ask questions. We get to know what others think. We find trusted sites that can give us news that's unbiased. Because again, we all have biases. We all have unconscious biases that we bring to the table when we enter a room, when we start our day. So it starts with taking time to decompress, to deconstruct, and to understand what is ahead of us, what happened. Because if you're in a small organization, it may start with just asking your leadership to share what's on their risk register. What is important to them? What is the crown jewels? What do we need to protect? So when you're defending, you know which threat actors are likely to come after you. It may be, what tool gaps do we have? And you work to satisfy those. Another thing in this field, security is good about finding issues. But how are we handing them off to IT to fix them? What relationship do you have with your IT department? Is your vulnerability management program just your patching program? What I mean by that, is your IT team patching? And when you run your Qualys, Tenable, or other scans, are you confirming the patches? Or are you just finding that we have vulnerable software? Vulnerability management continues no matter what. It's probably one of the hardest jobs for anyone, is you're always trying to figure out what you're vulnerable to, how you're vulnerable, and how you can patch that. So work with your IT team to figure out how they want to ingest data. Figure out how they want data to be shared. Is it start with just a calm before tickets cut? Is it a weekly meeting, a bi-weekly meeting? And figure out if you can turn on automatic patching. Is your environment in a place where you can programmatically patch each night? I advise that for your browsers. Yes, it may break a plugin, but all of us here have joined a call and looked in the upper right-hand corner and saw the icon that it's waiting for a patch. We laugh at that, but that could easily be fixed with your device management software such as Intune, Kanji, Jamf. They can restart your browser for you each day. We've all seen religious things where probably don't reboot or patch our mobile devices like we should. I'll be the first to admit my tablet doesn't get patched like it should because I don't turn it on enough. And when I do turn it on, I'm usually in an airport or on a plane where I don't have internet to patch it. I need to be more proactive and put something on my calendar to pull out the tablet, connect it to the home Wi-Fi, and patch it prior to my trips. Same with your mobile devices. Take time to see what apps you have on your phone. What permissions are you giving those applications? Do you still need those applications? And reminder, just because you delete an app doesn't mean you unsubscribed or stopped paying the subscription. Make sure when you remove the application that you're also canceling your subscriptions. We have to continue to figure out ways of doing this. And that starts with, what do we do with our patching? What do we do with application hygiene? How do we handle the different things like that? And again, I will pause. I'll take a quick look through chat to make sure I haven't missed anything. But as you can see, security starts with when you wake up. It's that human-centric piece. From the time you open your eyes until the time you close your eyes, there are security ramifications, security opportunities each and every day. So when you wake up, think about how you can secure yourself today. When you come home, think about what you did to secure yourself today. And not just you, but your organization. So we're halfway through the hour. I want to pause again to see if there's anything else that came up. Okay. I'm appreciative of people's time. I will not keep the stream open just to let you hear my rant. But if you guys would like to follow me, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter or X, and I'm also in Blue Sky. Feel free to connect with me there. Several of you, we're also in similar Discord channels, so at me there if you have follow-up questions. I look to do more of these in the new year. I wanted to software release this series today, just to let you know that I am a resource who loves to discuss all aspects of cyber. And I think it's imperative that we talk about it more. So as we go into the holiday season, take some of these tips and tricks and talk to your family members about them. It's a good way to break the conversations that may happen that you don't want to be in. You can ask them, what are you doing? Here's a funny story for you, or at least a joke of some sort. Your dentist asks you, do you floss every day? You respond to your dentist, do you have MFA on all your accounts? All of us on here know that we don't floss every day. All of us on here probably know at least one or two of our accounts that we have not enabled multi-factor on. That's an icebreaker you can have with your dentist, as I just used that analogy, but it could also be with your family members. Are they reusing their passwords? And if they are, help them understand why they should not. If they don't have MFA in place, maybe set up the Authenticator or Duo app over the holidays with them and show them how to use it. Please take some time to get to know what your family members are. And to be honest with you, it starts with making small changes. It's taking a bite of the apple. You don't have to chew the entire apple. Making one security change at a time, such as switching from a password to a passphrase, switching from a single factor to a multi-factor solution, using a password manager to host those things, changing your security questions from being the standard answers into something that only you know or you auto-generated and stored with your password vault. So there's a question here is how to explain MFA to them in dentist terms. The analogy that is said is flossing is a preventative measure. MFA is a preventative measure. You can use terminologies as the reason you brush your teeth and the reason you floss your teeth is to keep from getting cavities or losing your teeth. So on the flip side, the reason you have unique passwords, long passwords or passphrases, and MFA is to protect yourself from a password spray or a password reset, password dump that we happen from the data breaches we have. Tony has a question here. Do you have any CISSP certifications tips? Think like a manager, all I hear. Yeah. So that question there for the CISSP, pick one domain that you don't do as part of your day job or have it done recently and mind map it. Build out a chart to walk through the different things. So let's pick on cryptography for a moment. Start with asymmetric and symmetric cryptography. Write everything you know about both of them. Then try to compare them. Then do a contrast. Then put examples of what a public-private key looks like. What cryptography algorithms apply to asymmetric or symmetric cryptography. And put those under your mind map. Then look at usage for both. Know when you're using Diffie-Hellman or elliptical curve, or when you put them together. Understand what blowfish is. These are all terminologies that come out of cryptography that you'll need to know. Also, put out the difference of your CIA triad. Understand where confidentiality, integrity, and availability comes into play, because they're not equal. And then look where the cryptography plays into place, which we're going to talk about. The integrity piece of it is, how do you protect that data? Understand the difference between encryption and hashing. Hashing is a one-way. That's your MD series, your message digest series. That's your SHA-1s or SHA-2 or SHA-3, 128, 256, 512. Those are the key sizes. And just map those out. Also, take a domain that you're good at and still spend 5 or 10 minutes with it just to make sure that you haven't missed anything. That's most people's pitfalls. I've been doing security architecture for 10 years. I don't need to study the security architecture domain. Or I've been doing access control for 5 years. I know everything I need to know about IAM. You don't. Another thing, shameless plug, friends of mine published the 11th Hour book. Read it the day before. It's a quick, easy read. It's less than 100 pages. And go through it. That'll help you refresh your mind. If you're a flashcard fan, take flashcards with you. Put them in your car when you're at a stoplight. Don't do it while you're driving. Put them on your desk. Put them on Post-it notes. Just reiterate those questions to you. Because without those, you're going to set yourself up to forget things. And if you're forgetting things, it's because you've thought about them too much. What I don't like about the CISSP is the test questions that they've recently added. I got mine in 2012, and now that they've moved on, they've got to the point where they now have, I believe, and people can correct me, up to 50 test questions built in. It's still an adaptive test. You're still timed, and you still know. But those test questions can defeat you. Don't let them. Don't let those be the ones that defeat you. Be comfortable knowing these domains. I joked. A friend of mine recently took it. He didn't think about physical security. He never done anything with physical security. He didn't understand the different fire suppressions, A, B, and C classes. He didn't understand the size of the fence you have to put around. He went off of legacy knowledge of when he worked in a data center and realized that we can no longer put gas to suppress the fire because of legal requirements. And the CISP is tricky because it's not always what you do in the field. It's an academic test. It's why you keep hearing people say it's a managerial test. You have to have enough knowledge that you can push the knowledge down, but you also have to have enough knowledge that you can meet with your C-levels, your boards, your VCs, or your private equity folks, depending on your org, and explain it in what I call the Fisher-Price mindset. 3 simple colors, and quick, and easy, and it needs to be digestible. Think of it as your elevator pitch. That's how the CISSP is. You've got to be able to explain everything and what it takes to go from floor 1 to floor 10. So it's got to be concise, so that you have to know a lot, but you have to be able to digest it and give it concisely in 10 seconds while you're riding the elevator with that executive who just happens to ask, what do you do for the organization? They don't want to know that you push firewall rules. that you respond to alerts. They want to know what value add you have. So you need to be able to articulate your role in an ROI situation, a return on the investment. Because cyber and IT is call centers for most organizations. They need us. And the running joke for most executives is I know you're doing your job when I don't hear from you and I don't see our name in the news. Let that sit in for a moment. We are the unsung heroes because we are doing our jobs when our executives do not hear from us, which is different than our finance team who are constantly telling the financials. They're pulling out the balance sheet. They're sharing our debits and credits. They know what the money coming in and money going out is. Cyber and IT is not that way. We're putting in defenses and infrastructure to make sure that when you click that button, the application loads. When you send that email, it goes through. When you send that Slack or Teams message, it's delivered. It's imperative that we continue to think like that. It's imperative that we continue to understand the vital role we play in our organizations, both in our workplace and in the communities that we sit. Great question so far. I've shared my socials out there. Feel free to connect with me. Feel free to let me know if you have general questions. As I said, I'd be happy to do more of these series. I'm looking to put them on the calendar more in 25. If there's topics you'd like to discuss, share those prior to, and I'll make sure I spend a few minutes investigating and setting them up. And with that, looking at the chat again, make sure I haven't missed anything. I want to thank you guys for joining today. As you've seen the chat, please like and or subscribe. I will continue to put out more content. I'll continue to be around if people have questions. I appreciate the dialogue so far today. I have a passion, as you guys can tell, for this field. I'm thankful for the support that I've had in it in my almost 20-year career. I'm thankful for the opportunities to have fallen, but for those people who can help stand me back up. So with that, I will sign off. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. For those who are watching the replay, please reach out with any questions, and I look forward to chatting with you all again soon.